Okay, let's begin then. So we're going to start, as always, by thinking about our standing posture position. So really important, of course, to get that first of all. We're going to spread out the toes, make a nice connection down to the floor through our feet, so it's feeling the toes, but the balls of the feet and the heels as well. Hello, everyone that's coming in now. We're going to stand up tall, lifting and lengthening up through the crown of the head, so we feel tall, but also quite relaxed. Soft through the knees, shoulders, and grounded through the feet. Hands come onto the belly and we start to think about our breathing. So we're just noticing that nice, easy, natural, gentle rise and fall, which is our normal everyday breathing that we don't ever think about generally. So that's all we're doing at the moment, is just observing that, and we'll stay with that for now. Let the arms relax down, gently dropping chin towards chest, and then lifting up and lengthening away. So just starting with a little bit of neck mobility today, as with all the movements, but especially the neck. Just being nice and careful, feeling your way gently into it. We're going to take one more time here, down and up, and then draw back so that we're lining the head up and we're much more aware of that position over the shoulders. We're then going into our side to sides, so we'll just have a look over and see how far we can go. We'll do another couple of those. Again, at the moment, we're just doing that nice, easy, relaxed breath. So we don't need to do anything with it, just notice it really. Now we're going up, so we're taking the ear up. We're anchoring the shoulder down in place. We're just getting this nice feeling of lengthening away. Hello, hello, hello. So we just do another couple of those. Feel that nice feeling of lifting the head away from the shoulders. We'll just go one more to the side. Now we're going to drop the head in, so we're coming into a little roll. Again, just feel the way through that nice and gently and carefully. And we'll just go one more of those either side. Gently encouraging. Let's roll back to the middle and then think of the crown of your head here lifting back up, so we're in that tall position. Moving the shoulders then, we're squeezing back, shrugging up, curling forwards, sliding down. So it's trying to encourage that movement just as much as we can. Feel the contrast between back and forward particularly, but also try and find the up and down positions too. We'll do another couple of those, just aiming to warm those shoulders a little bit. And then let's take it back the other way, so into that big stretch, squeeze and back. And you'll notice that although we're thinking of shoulders, there's actually a little bit of movement around the upper body as well, as everything through the upper spine starts to join in too. So we're going last one, we're settling the shoulders down into the back. They're feeling nice and relaxed, but definitely a bit warmer. Hands come onto the rib cage. We do our little hip drops. So try and avoid, although it is looking sideways, it's definitely push down, down to get that feeling of length. We'll just do a couple more of those, and then we're settling so we can go the other way, scooping forward and back, so it goes a little bit deeper into the low back. So we're gradually lengthening that. We'll do another couple of those. And then it's going to be just about finding, hopefully, where we were already standing, back into good posture position, hips nice and level. We're then coming on to tiptoes, so we float up just nice and slowly on the way down, which is much harder. We're also trying to go nice and slowly into the flexing, of course, which is the opposing action. So it's not just about the balance, although that is a big part to do in the tiptoes. It's also about that movement through the feet and ankles as well, and we've got a little bit of footwork focus to do today as well, so they will need to be moving a bit now. We're going to take last couple of these, so just float it, whoops, try and keep the eyes steady and focused, that usually helps, and then flex. Then we're going to plant the feet. Let's take the arms up, reach them high, swing through into the legs, not so much of a tip forward as more of a sit down. So we send our bottoms back, we're loose with the arms, we're just swinging freely, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, one more time, swing through. We're going to reach up And we're going to circle out. So just take those arms back and around. Good. Stepping out there, let's take an easy twist. Again, it's just about being soft and gentle, full body, everything connecting together. Okay. Let's take the last couple and then come back to the middle. Relax this time. We want to just roll out the shoulders, loosen the arms and the legs so everything's just feeling that a little bit more connected. We're staying tall as we start to think about posture work to begin with. So feet to hip width again, of course, those slightly soft knees, normal standing posture. I'm bringing the arms forward, palms face together, not too high because I don't want the shoulders to shrug, so drop them slightly. And then start by drawing back. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together here. Then push forward again, now open wide, drawing back again through the shoulders, but it has a different effect. So squeeze and squeeze, they're both squeezing movements of the shoulder blades, working purely on strength there, and then here, big chest opening. So we know from our everyday life that we tend to get not so strong in the back and quite tight around the chest because everything we do is kind of in front of us. So with this chest expanding type work, it's all about opening that, which is of course really good for the posture as well as strengthening everything up there. You need that combination of both things happening. So we're going to take a few more here. We want to get those shoulders to the point where they're definitely feeling that work. They're feeling a little bit warm. So that strong squeeze, that strong open. Like I say, they both have the effect of working the shoulders, but then we've also got that nice additional big chest stretch that we need. And I would just watch out for any sort of additional movement in the body where you're kind of changing position. Not that anybody is doing that, I can see, but it's always good to be wary of those little cheats that we can do. So last couple, we're opening out here for the final time and releasing. And those shoulders and arms probably feel quite warm after that amount of reps actually. So shake and loosen everything off. We're going to head to the mats now. So let's come on down and of course bring with you any props that you normally use, whether that is head support. Quite a lot of us will use head support, or any additional props like weights even, maybe, or resistance bands for assistance in other things later on. Okay, so let's make sure where the camera's just falling down. Skew that back in a straight line. Okay, so once we're down here, you guys will be there before me, so it always takes me a bit longer to get sorted with my cameras. But once you're there, just head on your support if that's what you're normally having. Nice, relaxed, comfortable position, of course. Knees bent, feet on the floor. And we always just start to have a little bit of breath connection when we get here. So I want to be relaxed, soften those shoulders. We've just been stretching the chest, so let it be open and relaxed now as well. Have the hands onto the belly, start to think about and observe that normal, natural breathing, and we'll stay with that for just a couple of breaths. So once we've got that awareness, we want to go that little bit deeper, of course, to our Pilates breath. So we inhale, we feel the belly rise. We exhale, we encourage away. We feel that natural bracing feeling or tightening feeling that happens around the abdominals with the breath, and we're going to use that hopefully with the work as well. So floating up, I'm going to demo single leg, but there is a 2-leg version which is basically the same. So from here I'm going into a normal 1-leg stretch for the first repetition. So I'm pointing toes, I'm lengthening the leg, and I'm making the leg as long and as lengthened as possible. I'm drawing back into normal start position. Then I'm flexing my foot, push through the heel. You'll notice a stronger bum muscle activation. Keep it flexed as you come back in, and then just keep alternating. So point for 1, so that's a stretch, and then flex, and that's more of a pushing feeling. So you're then going to alternate between this feeling of pushing and stretching, pushing and stretching. 10-ish, although of course we're doubling up here, so you'll have to play around with how many reps you normally do. Repeat on the other side, of course, or if you are doing double tabletop, the only difference really is that you're going to do the stretch on the one leg, then the push on that same leg, so you'll do a double rep, then you'll change legs, so you'll go stretch with the pointed toes, push with the flexed foot, and then you'll just keep alternating like that. So essentially you're still alternating like we would do normally on 2-leg work, and that's your movement to start with today. So as with anything here that we do on our backs that is involving strong centres and strong leg work, we are thinking, of course, stable pelvis, we're thinking breathing, and for this particular one, we're thinking really, really long lengthening. We're pretty familiar with a normal one-leg stretch now. We've done lots of different variations of that pointed toe version, but we're adding in every other one, the pushing version now. So that foot flex, very strong, pushing through the heel, makes the leg push feel much stronger, but also you're going to feel that stronger bum muscle activation. So I will let you carry on now. Once you're done, of course, you can just come into your resting position, although I think we've probably still got a few to go, so let's keep working. Very nice. Now, I think we probably are getting near to the end, so if you have, or when you do finish, just coming into our own resting position, and that could be about finding some specific stretches that you normally like to do, whatever feels good for your body, or it's equally worth just completely resting, relaxing, soften down into the mat for a moment, take a few nice easy breaths, just while everyone's in those last couple of reps now. Okay, very, very nice. Right, we're going to stay here in our neutral setup position, or our natural setup position. So again, if you're normally liking head support, you'll still have that for this one. You'll need to make sure it doesn't get in the way though, because we're going to be taking our hand back behind the head in a second. So start position is hovering both hands just up above the chest, and in much the same way as we've just been thinking about a stable pelvis with the legs, now when we start to move the arms, we'll be thinking rib cage connection. So that's our center control, is keeping the ribs connected to the mat. For most of you, you're going to be taking either a single leg option, do half and half change, or a double static tabletop. So either of those is fine, or you could do no legs at all, which is where I'm demoing. So I bring one hand up as if to salute, but instead of stopping, I'm going to keep turning, so I'm eventually showing the palm of my hand to the ceiling. In that position, I'm trying to get the back of the hand. I don't think mine's going to quite get there today, but as close to the floor as you can. Sweep around, then take the other one, and it will go a little bit quicker than my demo once you get going. So I'm going super slowly just so you can see the position. So if this hand is not making it to the floor, mine isn't today, you just go as far as you can and encourage that each time to get a little bit closer. If that hand is making it all the way to the floor, so your back of hand is on the mat, then it would be a case of, oh, I didn't realise my shoulders were so tight today until I started doing this one. If your hand does make it to the floor, then you would be working on more of the arm coming closer to the floor. So it doesn't matter whether you actually get to the floor, but it's wherever you start from that you gradually get closer. So for me today, it would be getting closer to the floor. Normally I can get my hand down and then I'm trying to get more of my arm down, so it does vary. See how you go though, just exhale as you're stretching back, inhale as you're sweeping round. Just keep alternating those arms, and of course if you are doing the single leg version, you will just need to make sure you change at roughly halfway, so you do some with the other leg raised so they work evenly, of course. Really good. I mean, we can probably feel how good this is for the posture, because it really opens up everything around the chest and the shoulders, really mobilizing us everything, as well as giving us that center challenge of keeping the ribs down and working into the abdominals, which is mainly what having the leg or the legs involved is doing. And we can feel this really nice mobilizing and stretching, definitely stretching into those shoulders. Now we're probably coming into our last few again, so as always, just rest wherever you need to be. Either resting or stretching, but as long as it's comfy for you to just recover before we move into the next thing. Wonderful, nice second one. We are turning onto our sides this time. We have done these before, but not for a while. And what you're going to need as you come over onto your side is a cushion or something. Not for the first thing we're doing, but just have a prop near to you for the next exercise. We're doing two things on our sides today. The first one's the clam. You won't need a prop for that, but just make sure you've got something nearby so it's easy to grab in a minute. Once you've grabbed that, then you can come into your sideline position. And unlike most of the sideline ones where we start in a straight line, for this, we've got the knees coming in front of us. I've got my feet just slightly hovered a couple of inches. I don't want them too high because it'll turn me over and make the movement really awkward. So it's just a little hover there. I'm making sure the knees are lined up here, so I'm not starting off on a funny angle. And I'm going to move through here, focus on stable pelvis. Connecting to that Pilates breath, as we breathe out, we float the knee up, and think of up rather than back, because we don't want to be like rolling, and then float down. So lift and lower. As you lower, knees lightly touch, but they don't actually fully connect again until the end of the set. So the idea is you have this continual flow of the work. So it's movement here, breathe out, strong abdominal connection, breathe in, lightly connect, stable pelvis. And you'll mainly feel it through deeper hip and outer thigh, which is definitely where we're working, but there's lots of other stuff going on as well. Inner thigh, pelvic floor, deep abdominals, back, all those deeper stabilizing muscles, they're all working. With our other side work, we've generally been doing somewhere between about 10 and 20 reps, and that's probably going to be the same thing on this one. Most of us are going to feel this quite strongly and get to our maximum within that amount, I would probably imagine. You'll find that fatigue point of those muscles. When you do get to that point, you can just rest, because like I say, we're going to do the second thing here as well, and that's what you'll need your prop for in just a second when you're all done. But yeah, just enjoy a little rest if you do finish the clam. Right, so just while the last couple are finishing off, I'm going to start setting up the next one. So this is where your knee prop comes in. Mine's a little bit low. I'd probably double that, would probably be a bit better. but it's just to support the top leg really. You can even do this with the leg just on the floor, and if I'm in a class where there's no props, that's the way we'll do it, but as most of you are still at home, hopefully you've got something. So the bottom leg is going to be very gently foot flexed. I'm not pointing, I'm not forcing the flex, but the foot is definitely flat. And again, it's quite a simple movement. It's lift and lower, but it's quite strong, and there's a real breath focus with this one. So as you lift the leg, breathing out right to the end of the breath, and then trying a bit of extra squeeze and a slightly deeper breath at the top, then releasing. So maybe not that long, but there. So you get this extra activation, you'll notice hopefully at the top. Breathe out strongly, squeeze strongly, breathe in. Again, we don't stop, so like with the clam, you've got that continual movement. So we're not like resting the leg at the bottom and then reactivating it each time. It's constantly working. Like I say, the main thing is that top bit of the lift. So as you're coming up strong in a thigh pelvic floor connection, then a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger with the breath, probably the normal. And again, it's probably going to be in that 10 to 20 rep range, just see how it feels. What is normal about our side work today is what we always do, which is finish with stretching. So I know you're not there yet, but when you are ready, you'll come off there into your normal stretching out, deeper breath, deep stretching position, and that will take you into your rest. Nice work there on the clam. And the opposite, of course, because with your clam, you've got that very strong, it's deep in the hip. It's not like your main bum muscles where we normally work with our frontline work or our shoulder bridge, where we're in those big glutes. It's much deeper into the hip, the clam, and then outer hip, and then of course what we've just been doing, the opposite to that, into the inner thigh. So quite specific, whereas a lot of the sideline work is sort of more generalised around the whole area. Okay, so from here then, we're going to come up into a seated position and have a nice little bit of rotating, but a bit of strong abdominals here as well, actually. I'll just pop your prop near where you'll need it in a minute. That's while we're getting set up. I'm going to demo this one sideways because we are rotating, but like I say, we're adding a bit of abdominals. If you've got a niggly back or anything and this doesn't agree with you, then there is options just not to do the centre portion of this one. So I'm going into what I call beach ball arms, which is making like a circle, and just imagine you're holding a beach ball in that circle. We're going into a normal twist first of all, a normal spine twist, so stable through the lower half of the body, breathing out to turn. Coming back to centre, we're going to do a little pelvic tilt, scooping into like a half a roll or a quarter roll back, into straight spine again, into the turn. Centre, scoop, very strong abdominals at that point. Sit tall, rotate, rotate. Like I say, not everybody's back is always going to be happy with scooping type work. So if that's the case, then you're going to stick with the spine twist, so you maintain a straight back and do more of a traditional spine twist movement where we're just going from one side to the other. So that would be absolutely fine and needed, say, if your back is not happy with that. Let me just talk about the scooping a bit more. Your aim is that you're sitting up with your tailbone pointing down, but as you go into the scoop, you send your tailbone away from you. If I really exaggerate it, you can see, I mean, we don't need to go that far today. We're mainly doing it as an activation, but you can see how you get that scooping when you're going back. So we're trying to get that kind of action happening, but still combining with your twist. And if you did it in standing, it would be essentially the same, so it's hard to show in standing. So twist, pelvic tilt through, just like we do in the warm-up really, where we pull the tailbone through. Same sort of feeling. You'll really start to feel those deeper abdominals. Actually, even the upper abdominals work strongly on this, but it's normally lower that we tend to feel it. We're going to have a few more reps here, so I'm going to give you a little bit longer. They're still looking pretty good, so I'm happy for you to go and do a few more if you're enjoying working those abdominals strongly. Now at some point your tummy muscles will get tired, or maybe even your shoulders, just from holding the arm position. So if you're still going, I think we're all done. So relaxing, give everything a shake out of course. We're going to head over to the other side for the clam and the lower leg work again. So like I said before, make sure you've got your prop ready for in a minute. Come on down to your most comfortable supported head, side lying position. Knees are up in front of us. Feet are floating up in the air a little bit. We're reconnecting into that Pilates breath, and we are breathing out as we lift and breathing in as we lower. You'll notice, and I forgot to mention this on the other side, the feet are together, so just watch that the feet don't drift away. It doesn't matter particularly if you go heel or toes, or I just tend to go for the whole of the foot area, but as long as there's some connection there, that's the main thing. You can feel that strong abdominal connection as you come to the top. Much more relaxed on the way down as the belly expands. You can feel it more strongly, I think, in this sideline position with clam. It's a good one for being aware of the breathing and noticing the difference with the belly being sort of activated and then relaxed. So we did somewhere between 10 and 20. Most of us are going to hit maximum in that window. It's much more fatiguing this than most of the other side lying work we do, so hopefully you should find that maximum position. Now of course we're all going to finish at different times, but if you want to go straight into the other one, you can do. So I think we're all around about done anyway. So it's supporting that top leg, and it just helps create a slightly better position. A relaxed flexed foot, so your foot is flat here as it's coming up, but you're not forcing it to be there. And remember that with this one, although there is a constant flow and we don't stop at the bottom, there is a slight pause, but it's at the top as we do that bit of extra squeeze. Slightly stronger breath, slightly stronger squeeze. Relax the belly as the leg comes down. Breathe out here. Feel that really, really strong activation. Really, really strong activation. And as you feel it here and here, you may or may not notice it, but there's really strong pelvic floor, natural pelvic floor activation. You don't have to do it consciously. It'll be happening even if you're not aware of it. So again, probably about 10 to 20. And of course, we always stretch at the end. Very nice, good technique everybody. So if you do get done and you've completed your stretches, you can just enjoy a nice rest for a little moment. Very, very nice. Great job. Okay, so from our rest here, we're going over onto our tummies. You'll need a little bit of space in front of you for this one, because we're going to start with the arms stretched out. So rather than starting in the middle and stretching them forward, they're starting in this position. Couple of options. So just have a look at this position first. I've got palms facing towards one another, thumbs pointing up, and you'll see that I'm slightly up. So I'm not like right down here, my head between my arms and my shoulders shrugging and my chest being squashed. I'm lifting up a little bit already, so I've got a bit of upward curve. It's in this section where the spine is upwardly curving a little bit. So I'm going to try and maintain that position. Of course, have an awareness to breath. And then for single arm, I'm going to lift one arm, draw it back. See how I'm trying to keep my thumb here pointing up and my palm facing forward? I'm trying to maintain that all the way round, so not turning in. Try and keep that up. You'll find with the single arm version, of course, that the other arm takes a little bit of your weight, and that's totally fine. That's why there's a single arm option. So you've got that little bit of support if you need it. Then you've got your double arms, of course. And we're just going to continually go there. You might find with the double arms that you naturally do a little bit of up and down. That's optional. I think it's slightly harder to move, but some people tend to move more naturally, whereas for me, I tend to find a stiller position works better, but it won't matter really is what I'm saying. So if you find you're naturally moving, that's okay. If you're staying very still and controlled, that's okay too. You've got your option, of course, your single arm, which does help support you a little bit. And of course, you can mix and match, create a pattern. Maybe do a single, 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 double, or every other one. It's a good way. We haven't actually done this particular one for ages, but it's a good way of building up the strength of any of this type of work, is to gradually add in the double arm stuff rather than just chucking it all in one go. And we just do as many repetitions as we can, so I will just let you carry on for as long as it looks like most of you are still going. Of course, rest and relax. When you're done, relax those arms, find a nice comfy position, let go for a moment. We're doing good. So I think we're pretty much all done there. So if you haven't already, you're going to bring your hands around. So they're now supporting your head, and that's generally a comfortable position for most of us to go with our shoulders. You might need to give the shoulders even a little wiggle out there just to really soften and relax them. So focusing into the legs now, again there's going to be a single and double option here, so you've got that pattern, or just pick one and focus on that. As I breathe out then, I'm lengthening one leg away like a swimming leg. I'm going to hover the leg up in the air just as high as you can. That'll be high for some people, not so high for others. Once the leg is up there, we're drawing out into a diagonal. So you've got that stability challenge of not letting your hips rock with it. Bring it back to centre, do the other leg, stretch, push the front of the hip into the floor so you don't lift up the hip. You want to lift the leg but not the hips, and then just keep alternating. For doubles, of course, both legs are going to lift, open out into that diagonal, squeeze back together, tap down. There's a slight difference there because, of course, with the single leg version, it's a bit harder to stabilise, because when you're only doing one leg, of course, the weight of that leg is pulling against your ability to maintain a stable position. Whereas with the two legs, you lose that element, but of course it's more challenging in a different way. It's the strength of picking up both legs is greater. So I wouldn't necessarily say the two-leg version of that is a progression. They're just both challenging versions of essentially the same movement. So yeah, it's a personal preference probably with that one, or maybe a mixture again. Looking good. Okay, so when you are done, just coming down to release the hips a little bit there. So the toes are tucking under, the hips are having a little shake, the legs are coming into that as well. And then we're going to come up. So bring the hands by the shoulders, lift up, and then just take a moment to roll. So we're going to draw the tailbone and the nose towards one another. We might hold that for a few breaths, or we might move freely in and out, wherever feels good. So we'll do a couple of those. Whenever you're ready, you can transition into the sideways hip sliding. The aim being there to just take the hips and the ribs away from one another. So we're lengthening the side of the body, and you can find that different ways. And then it's about putting that all together, moving sideways as you're traveling up and down, and all the different variations of that. So, once we've done a good bit of that, we're sliding hands forward, bums in the air with soft elbows, and then you can either stay there or you can keep just sliding, sliding, sliding. If your knees are happy, you can let yourself come all the way down to child's pose. If not, stay a little bit higher, that's fine there. Either way, just breathe into that for a moment. Okay, hands are coming in by the knees. They're going to support us now as we roll ourselves up. Very nice. We're going to head over to the floor again then for our last little bit. So when we get here, we're going to come into normal setup position again. So we've got knees bent, feet on the floor, and I'm just relaxed into my normal position. Maybe head support if you're normally having that as well. Pick up the arms, so they're stretching straight up, and then drop them back. Now, to keep my ribs down on the floor, I know that my arms won't go all the way over, so they're hovering in the air. If yours get further back, that's fine. They can start on the floor if they go that far. Connecting into your breath, we take a breath in, and as we exhale, just the arms are going to move first. So pull from here. So rather than lifting your hands, pull from your back here and draw your arms over. It does feel slightly different if you get that happening. Then inhale to come over. In addition to that arm pulling now, we're going to lift a leg, but the knee is coming right in. So I'm not stopping in neutral, I'm curling, and I'm actually going to allow my tailbone to come up as well a little bit, like the beginning of shoulder bridge. So arms are pressing strongly, knees pulling in, tailbone is curling. So it's like the opposite of a sit-up. Your lower body is curling. Having said that, if you don't have any neck problems, you may additionally curl your upper body. So that would be fine, as long as you're happy with lifting up the weight of your head with your neck. Not everybody is, so it's fine to stay flat down on the floor if that's not good for you, but if you're able to do it, then again, it might be one of those where you can do a few, but you might not do the whole set like it. For more challenge, we would pick up both legs. So instead of starting from the floor, I'm going to start in tabletop. As I scoop my arms over, I'm scooping my tailbone to get that, again, that more sort of traditional reverse curling action. So breathe out. Again, you could even potentially lift the upper body with that one. Just don't bosh yourself as you try to bring your knees and forehead together. Don't lose the pelvic curl as well, because when you start to curl the upper body, it can be tempting to just become like a sit-up, whereas you still want to get that scooping of the tailbone and that lower abdominal activation. Okay, they are looking good. I'm going to give you a bit longer because everybody's still looking pretty comfortable with that. We need to be coming into our stretching soon, so this will be your last bit of effort, I suppose. So really feeling it into those tummy muscles for our last bit of hard work, and then we'll have a nice little bit of releasing for a couple of minutes to finish off with. Very nice, super duper. Okay, lovely, lovely. If you're still going now, just taking your last couple of reps then. Okay, lovely. Just bring the knees in and just give the back a little bit of a roll here. So just a nice bit of low back and hip releasing. And round the other way as well, of course. Okay, we're going to just put one foot down, stretch that leg out, hold on to the other leg and bring it across the body. So we're coming into a twist stretch, and we're just going to stay for about 3 or 4 breaths, but they're quite deep breaths, so it'll take a moment. Okay, on my next exhale, I'm going to use my hand and just guide the leg and the hip back to the middle. Bring the other one in, stretch that one out, hold on to that knee and just very gently bring it over. Keep supporting with that hand. Come into that twist position, just wherever you want to go. Couple of breaths. Okay, next exhale, we return. Both legs are going long then, so let's take them out now. Pointing through those toes, stretching through those fingers. Couple of nice deep breaths there. Doing the same thing with flexed feet. Push through those heels. And when we've done those couple of breaths, we'll just relax the legs, give them a little shake out. Circle the arms around, bend the knees and roll over. Ease yourself up to sitting and just come into nice, comfortable position there. Okay. Hands together then, let's get those shoulders releasing. They've had a good bit of work, so hopefully they're already feeling fairly or looser than when we started. We're going to come back round, hands resting, opening chest. Again, that's had a good release, so we've done nice posture work. Into side bending, let's reach that away. Other side. All right, we're going to come back and roll the shoulders, and we are done. Yay. Good job, everybody. Well done. Very nice to see you all. As always.